Okay, in this example, I have taken the belt off and disconnected the tone arm lead underneath the tone arm assembly here. It is possible to do this change out without removing your tone arm. You can see the capsule, the cartridge has been removed just to be safe. And sometimes you may want to put a piece of tape over here. Like this, just to be sure it doesn't fly. You can leave the cartridge on, trying to be super safe here. So this old style, these pillars, the one-piece pillars, this turntable dates from about 1995, I guess, and they're so stretched out, these won't fit anymore because I've got them backed up so far. So let's go ahead and remove the table, which is quite heavy. In fact, you could do this beforehand, before you move the entire table. This is quite heavy. I think it's best to do this separately. This will come off, leaving the bearing in place. So now I need to take this assembly off, which I'm going to do, leaving the old springs and the old posts in place. No oil will leak as long as you keep this flat and upright. Okay, so those come off. I'm just going to put this here for clarity. Now what I'm going to need to do is install the new ones supplied. Now with this particular table, this has the old single piece suspension rods, and TruePoint Audio can source you the new ones that are two pieces, which is part of the whole design because it needs those ceramic balls and the sorbethane pads. Take those off. Now these need to be unscrewed. On the bottom there's a point. I've got a close-up running over here. So this unscrews like this. Sometimes you need to take the point off, and with a piece of inner tube or something on that remaining piece, you need to break the tension of where it's screwed in. And then you screw this all the way back in. You can turn this upside down. Alternately, you can, because this upper sleeve turns, you need to get it started like this. Trying to stay out of the camera shot, so it does make it a little difficult. It's really no harder than changing a light bulb. So you get that down, put this back for safekeeping, and there's one of the new two-part suspension rods that will work with the Pete's Pylons. Now we'll go on to do the other two. Pretty straightforward process. You can tip it back. I'm probably going to put this on uprights to be able to reach this one, especially the one in back. But again, this comes off, out with the old, in with the new. Been going with a tight, finger tight setting on that. Now the original ball bearings are still in these, so we're going to change those in a minute. But I just wanted to get this assembly established, so when we get to work, it's ready to put together. I'm leaving the felts out for now because if this is fitted correctly, it shouldn't hit the deck. And the pylons will be sure that that doesn't happen. So here we go. Third one, fitted and tight. And sometimes you get a little grease down there. You just wipe it with alcohol and get it nice and tight. Okay, so there we go with the new supports and ready to begin the process of fitting Pete's pylons and the parts that go inside those suspension supports. You're going to remove each top part of those pillars. Inside is a steel ball that you can coax out with a toothpick. There's a little grease in there, it breaks the seal of the grease, and it should pop out just like that. And do that with all three. Like that. Then you're ready to reassemble. A dab of grease on each of the three white ceramic balls. Drop back in. You may want to give it a tap with a toothpick so they don't fall out when you go to put it back on the post on top of the sorbethane pad. Okay, here's a close-up left front one. I'm going to drop that white ball into the tower. I just give it a tap down. I'm not going to do it on the plastic. And then try not to block that sorbethane. Then you go ahead and drop that right on there, and you've got that little cushioning effect. So it's the ball, then the sorbethane. I'll do the other two right now. Moving on, here we go. I'm going to do the other two towers now. As I showed before, you drop the white in. The ball's already out, the metal ball that shipped with the Michell uprights. I'm going to give it just a little poke so it sticks in there. You can add more grease, depending. So black sorbethane disc on these two guys. And then should be all set. Just checking. Yeah, that's perfect. And the next one, the last one, number 3. Okay, everyone's doing what they're supposed to. Loose and snug. Now, you've heard about the rubber bands. The best bet is to remove the bottom one, the larger one, like this. It does come off. You just have to grab it. Again, toothpick to the rescue. Leave the middle one on until you're down the line here a little bit. Now this is a snug fit. So these will go on, slip over, and then you tighten until you get just a few millimeters showing above the tower. Then to that, you take either the supplied or the existing white rings and place those at the base of the Pete's pylon. So as you can see, not terribly complicated once you get the top part of the table off. All right, that's looking good. Be sure that that's nice and flush that ring because it wants to hang up sometimes if the rubber bands are the O-rings are sticking out a little bit, but that should just snug down quite nicely. And here's the last one. Okay, now that's nice and flat. So I'm going to install this. In the first section, there's a little rub, you push it. And again, don't go all the way down. Just have it, a little bit of the top showing in the tower. Okay, that seems good. Okay, from others who have done this, I had this pylon screwed down, probably left it a little high. So let's go column, the pillar top of the pylon, the part that looks like a rook. And of course, you've got to hold the bottom because it does rotate on that pillar. So let's do this guy too. All right. Now we are ready to drop the spider back onto the new peak pylon suspended gyro deck. Now you simply lift over, and instead of bouncy springs, all of a sudden you have a very stable suspension system. Now you need to reach underneath and be sure that all of those, the pylons and the washers, are flush. Okay, so you seat those washers on top of the towers before you insert them underneath. You might need to jiggle them a little bit to seat home, depending on the fit, but all of these should ride flat underneath. You shouldn't have anything protruding underneath the spider.